Hello and welcome to Bookish and Beverages. I'm Melissa and I share delicious beverages and summary recaps on fantasy book series so you can remember what happened without having to reread it. And today we'll be diving into Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. This is book 1 in the Empyrean series. Content warning. There are full spoilers ahead. We'll be diving into all of the main plot points, the characters, the world building, and plot twists. So if you have not read this book, I highly suggest you pause here and come back later to watch. Unless you just don't fucking care, well, then carry on. Now let's go grab our drink. And for today's beverage, we'll be making an elderberry tea. Here is what you'll need. 1 tablespoon of dried elderberry or 1 tea bag of elderberry tea. Buddha tea has a great option. 1 cup of water, half a cinnamon stick. Also optional, 1 teaspoon of dried orange peel. Optional again, honey or sweetener to your taste. You'll need a saucepan, a strainer, and your favorite mug. Combine all ingredients except for the sweetener into the saucepan. Bring the mixture to a boil. Lower the heat and gently let it simmer for about 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, strain your tea into your favorite mug. Add a sweetener of your choice. And cheers! Drinks in hand, let's dive or fly into our book. Welcome to Besgaeth War College. It's conscription day for Violet, who has been training to become a scribe like her late father all her life until her mom, General Sorengale, decides, nah, you're going to be a dragon rider instead. There are 4 quadrants in Besgaeth: healers, infantry, scribes, and riders. Her sister Mira, also a rider, argues with their mom against sending Violet to the riders quadrant, but she loses that battle. Mira helps Violet repack her rucksack and prepares her for the deadly parapet crossing by giving her an impenetrable dragon scale corset and boots with good grip. Mira says her goodbyes and tells her, find Dane Atos. This is her childhood friend and a second-year cadet. Oh, and avoid Xaden Ryerson, a 3rd year and son of Fen Ryerson, the man who started the Tirish Rebellion and was executed by their mother. Climbing up the stairs to the parapet, Violet meets Rhiannon and offers to switch left boots so they'll both have at least 1 boot with good grip. At the top, she meets Xaden, but he doesn't try to kill her. Even though she shouldn't, she wants to climb him like a tree. While crossing, the boy behind her chases her to push her off. Insert Jack Barlow. She makes it across just in time, but he still wants to kill her. Rhiannon makes it too, and they run into Dane. He tries to convince her to switch to the scribe quadrant. She refuses, so Dane puts her in his squad so he can protect her. Last minute, Dane's squad gets switched with another squad, putting them under 4th Wing and Xaden's command, meaning as their wing leader, he would have direct access to her and punish her for any infraction as he sees fit. Before her first class, Dane tells Violet his signet. This is the power a rider gets from their bonded dragon. He has the ability to read people's recent memories, but only when he touches them a certain way. During their sparring assessment, Violet goes up against Imogen, a 2nd year and a rebellion kid, who tries to kill her but is unsuccessful because of her dragon scale corset. Phew! But she still gets her ass handed to her and ends up in the infirmary. Dane tries to convince her to switch quadrants again as Nolan, a rider with a mending signet, mends Violet and she blacks out. Back in the barracks, Violet finds a note and a book from Mira. It's their older brother's journal, the Book of Brennan. He was also a rider who died 5 years ago during the Tirish Rebellion at the Battle of Arisha and was also a mender. One of the entries reveals that she can gain insight into who she'll be fighting on the sparring mat ahead of time. It's time to use her brain and prepare. After curfew, Violet sneaks out to collect some poisonous items to add to her arsenal. She climbs a tree to collect berries when Xaden and the rebellion kids gather below the tree. So she stays to hide and listen. Also, it's illegal for 3 or more rebellion-marked kids to gather. Xaden catches her with his shadows after the others leave. His signet is shadow wielding. Hello, Shadow Daddy Xaden. Violet decides she won't snitch on them because he's just trying to help them get tutoring in areas that they were struggling in. The next morning, Dane walks Violet to her chosen duty, breakfast. This is where her master plan begins, to take out her sparring opponents using poison. And it's showtime! Violet wins a string of matches, but on her 5th challenge, her opponent gets sick too early and she has to spar with Xaden instead. He reveals that he knows she's been poisoning her opponents before matches. He taunts her and teaches her to fight according to her body type and aim for the weak points. He calls her violence for the first time, and the match heats up before Xaden calls it done. To her surprise, he didn't kill her. It's time to train for the gauntlet. During each session, Violet struggles to complete the second to last obstacle. After one of the squad mates dies, she takes her belongings to be burned and wanders around until she sees Xaden, Garrick, her section leader, and Bodhi, Xaden's cousin, all coming from flying. Xaden and Violet confront each other after the other two leave. Tension builds between them before he leaves without killing her yet again. It's officially Gauntlet Day, and Dane begs Violet to switch quadrants one last time. Nope, she's not giving up yet, and fuck you, Dane, for not believing in her. On the last obstacle, she uses her dagger to help her ascend the almost vertical wall, and she finally makes it. Another wing leader, Amber, tries to get Violet disqualified for using her dagger, but she throws the codex back in her face. Take that, bitch. It's presentation day, and they walk the path of dragons, and an unexpected rare golden feather tail shows up. Threshing day is finally upon them. Hours later, and still not bonded, Violet overhears Jack, Orin, and Tynan planning to find the golden dragon and kill it. She runs and beats them to the dragon and fights them off to protect the golden dragon. Xaden and his dragon, Sigale, show up. Violet lands a blow to Jack and he runs away like a little bitch. She knocks Orin unconscious. Tynan prepares to deal a killing blow and Xaden is about to step in when a black dragon shows up and scorches Tynan. Take that, asshole. Violet is officially bonding with the notorious black dragon Terran. They land in the flight field with everyone else along with the golden dragon. Violet approaches the roll keeper to record her dragon's name when she hears the golden one's voice offering her name as well. And Darna. 2 dragons, oh snap. Command is not happy about her bonding 2 dragons, but what are they ever happy about? But it's not up to humans. The dragons leave and have a discussion of their own. She celebrates with her squad until Dane comes up and pulls her aside to chat. Xaden shows up, telling Dane to leave. Xaden spills the tea. She bonded to Terran. Her death could also kill him because they are both bonded to dragons that are mated. The dragons are back, and she gets to keep her bond with both dragons. Dane comes up to Violet, and now he's excited for her. Then he kisses her. Her childhood dreams come true, but there are no sparks. During breakfast the next day, Imogen tells her that she'll be helping train her with weights. Later, it's flight class, and Violet can't keep her seat without Terran's help. Violet now has archive duty, and in the archives, she catches up with an old scribe friend, Jasenia. After giving her the book request list, she asks if they have a copy of the Fables of the Baron, but they don't have it. Odd. In the halls, a newly bonded writer's signet manifests, Intrinsic. He can read minds. Professor Carr shows up and snaps his neck. That signet is a death sentence. Violet wakes up and is being attacked by unbonded cadets, Orin being among them. She stops time briefly, thanks to Andarna's gift, which gives Xaden enough time to get to her and kill the other cadets. The following morning, Xaden swaps 2 first-year riders in his wing, assigning Liam, another first-year and rebellion kid, to protect Violet when he can't. After Amber Mavis, another wing leader, is executed for assisting with the assassination attempt. Before her execution, though, Dane tries to read Violet's memories and he doesn't believe her story. Apparently, Dane and Amber used to date and they both value rules over friendship and trust. Later, Violet feels an overwhelming power that is influencing her emotions because Taryn and Sigale are having dragon sex. She flees outside and finds Xaden smoking the good stuff. He teaches her how to ground to help block out her dragon. Filled with desire and aching need, they say, fuck it, and have a hot makeout sesh until Xaden puts a stop to it before they make more bad decisions. Weeks go by and Violet's signet hasn't manifested. She checks the sparring board for her next opponent, Jack Barlow. Their brutal fight begins. Jack is out for blood. He starts to use his power on Violet, and he's about to kill her. She reaches for her vial of orange powder and smashes it into his face. Asshole is allergic to oranges and has a reaction. They're pulled apart, and she passes out. She wakes up in the healer's quadrant, Xaden by her side. She brings up the kiss, and he says it was a mistake. Ouch. Effective immediately, he's going to be the one to train Violet. Violet and Xaden are on the mat. He's got some fancy daggers made for her, and she's just got to earn them and disarm him. It gets a little heated as they're rolling around, and she gets all the daggers. The winter months are passing by, and squad battles have begun. Violet's squad wins a series of challenges, and for the reward, they all go to visit Montserrat, an outpost, for a week. Mira is there for a surprise sister reunion. Xaden shows up 3 days later because their dragons can't be apart for any longer than that. Or maybe it's him. Mira leads them through an exercise. Xaden mind speaks to Violet for the first time and she is shocked. Then Xaden shows off his shadow daddy wielding powers to shut up Dane, and one of his shadows touches Violet's cheeks. Unfortunately, the squad is forced to leave early when griffins attack the outpost. Mira goes off to fight, but Violet wants to stay and help. Xaden and Violet are the last two to wait for their dragons. Xaden passionately kisses Violet to distract and stall her until Taryn comes to grab her. 2 days later, Violet is waiting outside of Professor Markham's office, waiting to hear about Mira. Xaden joins her, they banter, and he tells her how he can't stop thinking about doing more than kissing her. She finally learns how to mind speak back to Xaden. Dane joins them, and Markham gives in and tells her that no riders were lost. Mira lives. War games have begun. Taryn lands in the flight field, and Violet notices he's wearing a saddle that Xaden made for her. Swoon. During the practice battle, Jack Barlow attacks Liam. He falls off his dragon, and with no way to get to him on time, and Darna gives a green light for her to use her time-stopping gift. Taryn and Violet save Liam. Violet is fucking pissed and is on a mission to kill Jack Barlow once and for all. Violet opens herself up to her power and blasts the turret with a strike of lightning, killing Jack, who gets buried under the mountainside rubble. Violet is a lightning wielder. And fuck you, Jack Barlow. Back in her room, Xaden comes to check on her after being upset for killing Jack. They open up just a little to each other, and she finally goes in for a kiss. The tension builds as Xaden tries to fight the inevitable chemistry building between them. He gives in and finger bangs her. Lightning strikes outside as she climaxes. They bang, bang, bang all over her room, breaking her furniture. They both lose control. She climaxes again, setting the curtains on fire. Xaden climaxes, unleashing some of his shadows. Oops. After their post-bang bliss, Violet asks him about his scars, and he opens up just a teensy bit. His scars are from a deal he made, taking responsibility for the loyalty of all 107 rebellion kids. Xaden is gone the next morning. Professor Carr takes Violet out to a mountain range to train her lightning powers, but she needs a little emotional push to get her powers going, and Xaden sends her some sexy time images to fuel her fantasies. Ka-chow, 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 lightning strikes. Xaden drops by Violet's room in the evening, helping her pick up the mess they left in her room. Violet asks Xaden to tell her what he was doing that one time she saw him outside after curfew with Garrick and Bodhi. He tells her that he was an Athbane. She picks up the fabled book Mara gave back to her when they were at the outpost, and a cryptic note from her dad slips out. Violet brings up the situationship between them, admitting that she'll probably fall for him and he's being a dumbass, refusing to admit he's on the road to doing the same. Sigh. It's reunification day, and there's a party at Vesgaiath with all the quadrants. Violet is dressed up, and Liam escorts her. After a chat with the king, her mom, and General Melgren, Liam and Violet dip out. Violet tells Liam to get lost, and she finds Xaden sitting out on the parapet. She tells him she's falling in love with him, and he tells her he's done fighting it. They walk back to his room and bang it out again. And again, and again, and again. Lightning show and all. On round 5, Garrick knocks on the door telling them they're under attack. They head to formation. It's the final War Games exercise, and only 10 more days until graduation. After packing up and getting ready for a 5-day exercise, Xaden shows up telling Dane that Violet, Liam, and Imogen will be joining his squad to Athbane, the outpost just beyond the border of the wards. After hours of riding, their squad lands, and Griffin Flyers show up. To Violet's surprise, Xaden knows them and has been working with them the whole time. They warn Xaden and the crew about a horde of Venin that attacked a village nearby before they take off. Violet is pissed. Her dragons, Xaden, Imogen, and Liam, all knew except for her. She works through coming to terms that the Venin of her fables are real, and that Navarre's leadership knows but does nothing to help those outside the wards, and continues to keep the Venin a secret. She believes Xaden but doesn't trust him. They take off and make their way to Athbane. The outpost is oddly empty, and they find a letter from Colonel Atos for Xaden. Their mission for War Games is to survive if they can. Oh, and choose between abandoning the enemy village about to be attacked by Venin or abandon his command of the wing. Looks like Dane read Violet's memory without her knowledge or consent of when Xaden told her about sneaking out to Athbane. The Griffin Flyers show up telling them to leave. Battling against 4 Venin is a death sentence. Xaden makes a choice to stay and tells the rest that they get to make their choice to leave or stay and fight. Of course, everyone chooses to stay and fight or die trying. And the battle begins when Wyvern show up. They work to evacuate the townspeople and try to kill the Venin and Wyvern, but it's not that easy. Violet uses her lightning to start killing the Wyvern, but her aim isn't always the best. Violet and Taryn help Liam and his dragon, Day, against a Wyvern attack. Then, Liam and Day do the same for Violet and Taryn. Day is in a vicious battle against one of the Wyvern, which causes Liam to fall off, but Violet is able to catch him and help him onto Taryn's back. The Wyvern has a death grip on Day as they plummet to the ground and crash. Day is dead. A dragon without its rider is a tragedy. A rider without its dragon is dead. Taryn lands and Violet tries to get Liam to Day's body, but Liam is dying too. Xaden shows up and carries Liam to rest by Day. Liam is dead. No! More Wyverns show up, and Violet is full of rage and vengeance, wielding her lightning. There's a Venin on Taryn's back. Violet unseats herself to fight. Violet gets stabbed with a venomous dagger, but she finally kills the Venin, which takes down some of the Wyvern she created. Moving on to the next Venin, Violet is almost burning out, wielding her lightning. She uses some of Andarna's powers to stop time and finally aim her lightning in Bull's eye. Xaden kills the other Venin, and Violet falls from Taryn. Andarna stops time again and catches Violet. Everyone regroups, and Xaden makes the call to take Violet to get healed, but not at Vesgaiath. She's dying and won't survive the long flight there. Days later, Violet wakes up, and Xaden hasn't left her side. She realizes where they are. Orisha, the city that was burned to the ground during the Tirish Rebellion. Xaden asks her if she's willing to fight with them, and Violet says she's in, but that doesn't mean she trusts him. Xaden is willing to do whatever it takes to win back her love and her trust. There's another knock at the door, and in walks Brennan, her dead brother very much alive, welcoming her to the revolution. Let's go! Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more summary recaps on your favorite fantasy series. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share with your fellow book lovers. If there are any series you'd like summary recaps on, please drop it in the comments below. And thank you, thank you, thank you.